Well, the weather outside is frightful. Damn, Skippy, it's going to be frightful as we tape here on the 21st of December, 2022, hitting Thursday morning, the 22nd, about the same time as the bomb cyclone is hitting in the Midwest.
So all is calm, all is bright tonight, but it won't be for the next few days for Christmas. A white Christmas is guaranteed in our area.
Yep, through Chicago, through upper Indiana, into Cleveland.
Yep, blizzard warnings already, and it hasn't even started yet.
So definitely
We're going to get a coating and nothing else.
Yeah, I mean, there's talking 6 inches, but it's going to be blowing all over the place.
50-mile-an-hour plus winds could cause a little havoc.
Yeah. Now, of course,
then the lake effect kicks in.
Well, then you've got the travel issues, but the thing is, people won't be traveling to work because most people have Friday and Monday off.
Right.
But it's the people traveling around to go to their families' places for Christmas.
Yeah, that's what's going to hose everybody.
And it'll be interesting to see how it impacts some of these football games this weekend because, of course, a lot of these games are being played on Saturday instead of Sunday.
Yeah, so Buffalo is supposed to be playing in Chicago, and word is the Bills are traveling early to get in before all hell breaks loose with the weather.
So we've got it covered, kids. Weather, sports, entertainment. Check out the weekend edition Saturday morning. You won't have anything better to do if you're in the upper Midwest because you're going to be snowed in. So make sure you check that out. Dave and I will be reviewing the Banshees of Inisherin. We'll be talking more Doom Patrol, talking some Christmas music.
We got some Christmas music.
But for now, it's football. Recapping NFL Week 14. Oh, 15, I'm sorry.
15, yes.
I'm so far off on all this because of the extra week. I don't know what's going on. So 16, we'll have our picks for that week coming up. Of course, fantasy football, the playoffs in our league are starting. We'll get to that in a little bit.
Mass chaos.
Cats and dogs sleeping together.
All right. Let us begin with last Thursday's game. 49ers and the Seahawks.
Which probably eliminated, for all intents and purposes, Seattle from playoff contention. Because now they're going to have to play the Kansas City Chiefs in Kansas City. And you know
they got a rough run ahead.
The point spread on that is almost at double digits.
Yeah.
Last time I checked. Great job by Pete Carroll, regardless. Even if they finish 7-10, I still think that's better than what a lot of us were expecting from them.
Right. They played very well, and who knows, would they have even been that good with Wilson? Based on how bad he's played.
Yeah, and Geno has looked really good.
So
you could say the injury to Rashad Penny might be a blessing in disguise because Kenneth Walker, the rookie, looks like he could be a good running back going forward. You've got the two stud wideouts.
Yeah,
Tyler Lockett got injured, but initial reports, broken finger, out the rest of the season. Now, today, they're saying 1 week only. But this would be the week they need him.
Yeah, they definitely need him to go toe-to-toe with Mahomes and the Chiefs if they want to win.
And the legend of Brock Purdy continues to grow. I still, as much as I love everything else about the 49ers, Deebo Samuel will come back at some point in the next month. That's the one question mark now. You're on your third quarterback. Can he guide you through the playoffs?
All he has to do is not turn the ball over.
And the good thing for him is the NFC is extremely weak.
It is. With that defense, and if they are smart with the plays they call and run, they can take a page out of the Ravens book with Dilfer.
Yep.
Don't turn it over. Take what's there.
And you could actually say the 49ers have better offensive weapons than that Ravens team had.
They do.
You've got McCaffrey, you've got Deebo, as I said, coming back.
Ayuk at receiver, Kittle at tight end. They have the weapons there. They can get open. And
They
they
should
got
be
the
able-
reach.
They should be able to skate all the way through until they play the Eagles, is how I'm looking at it. They should be a lock for the NFC Championship. Now, the Saturday games, Saturday games now coming into play. A lot of the games that we didn't even pick ended up being the most exciting,
intriguing.
crazy. The early game on Saturday, which of course we didn't pick, we figured
it was going to be a blowout.
But it turned out initially
the other way that we thought. So the Vikings Colts was a tale of two halves, a tale of two teams going in opposite directions after halftime, with the Colts jumping out to that huge 33-0 lead and then playing not to lose. You cannot do that in the NFL. You cannot do that in sports, period.
So in overtime, they end up losing to Minnesota 39-36.
3 damn points they scored in the second half. Come on.
And of course, a lot of very ironic, interesting storylines here. In that, number one, the team that fired Frank Reich, who had the record as the quarterback for the Bills for the biggest comeback of all time with
in the playoffs
against the was it the Oilers back then or the Titans? I can't remember. I think it was still the Oilers.
I don't recall.
But that was a 32-point comeback. Frank Reich led the Bills back to beat Houston. So now the team that just fired him about a month ago sets the record for failing and being on the wrong end of the biggest comeback of all time now.
Yeah.
And, of course, poor Matt Ryan.
Becoming the
Matt
scapegoat.
Ryan. Not only now is he the quarterback of the team that lost the biggest comeback of all time. Of course, we all know he is the quarterback who lost in the biggest Super Bowl comeback of all time when the Patriots came back to beat the Falcons.
You cannot put it all squarely on him. It comes back to coaching and the plays that are being called. And we all know that it was the Falcons coaching that lost that Super Bowl.
Matt Ryan had one bad play.
One. And that was not enough to undo the entire thing.
Right. It was just that perfect storm, that bomb cyclone.
Yeah.
And I still don't believe in the Vikings. The Vikings put themselves in bad situations week after week after week after week. And they get lucky here and they come back and everybody's, oh, what'd they say at halftime? What would the coach say? What did Kirk Cousins say?
There was nothing. It was the Colts falling apart is what it was.
They lost Jonathan Taylor in the first series of the first quarter.
Yeah. But they still rolled without him. And then you could tell they played completely different in the second half. They were not doing the same thing. And that I absolutely hate. Continue doing what got you there. Embarrass them. Don't take your foot off the gas. You keep going. Otherwise, you're going to have what you had there.
Now, the middle game on Saturday, December the 17th, the Browns, opposite of the game we were just talking about. Lots of offense, lots of scoring, not a lot of action in this one, but we talk about the Vikings and their flaws and how if you watch them with any kind of a intelligent football eye like we have, you know the Vikings are flawed and they're not going to go far in the playoffs. And I can say the same thing about the Ravens. Yes, I know it was not Lamar Jackson. It was Huntley. But still,
that was just a piss-poor performance by the Ravens.
Right. They end up losing the lead in the AFC North. We'll get to that in a second. The Browns with Deshaun Watson looking ugly again, but they're still finding ways to win now.
The defense is carrying that team right now.
And the running game with Nick Chubb.
Yeah.
And then the late game, of course, I am so sorry.
Hey, I was surprised that Miami stayed in that game as long as they did. And lo and behold, they actually found a running game.
Raheem Mostert had a
Mostert had a
great
phenomenal game. And it comes back late. Once they lost the lead, they got away from the running game. That's what kept them moving, kept the chains going, and they tried to ride Tua's arm, and that is what blew it for them in the fourth quarter late. They needed to run, and they blew it in that regard.
Yep, Bills end up winning at the end, 32-29. Now, of course, the weather forecast there, notice the theme. We're talking about so much weather. Last Saturday night, there was supposed to be a massive snowstorm in Buffalo. They did get it, but it was earlier than expected. So it didn't impact the game all that much until the very end.
Towards the end of the fourth quarter.
Where all the Buffalo players were out there for the game-winning field goal. You can use your hands.
Yep, they're all out there on their hands and knees moving snow.
You can't use anything else. So you can't use a towel, can't use any kind of an implement other than your hands to clear off the turf or the grass for the kicker. So the Bills end up winning. I agree with you, though. The Dolphins played much better than I expected, given the conditions.
Yeah.
They're on a skid right now. They're still in the playoffs, and I think when we get to our picks, most of us will agree this is going to be a bounce-back week for them, even though it's a big game and it's a challenging game. But I agree with you. It'll be interesting to see. Will they stick with Mostert?
You got to keep that running game going. They actually showed that they could run the damn ball for once.
I know, but they love Wilson and Mostert, both, of course, coming over from San Francisco because the head coach, of course, came from San Francisco.
Mostert has shown he is the guy who can be your lead back and should get the bulk of the carries.
Agreed. I agree. Moving on to Sunday, December the 18th. The Lions and the Jets. Oh, my God. Oh, my God. I will never trust a head coach again. Never. And when we get to the Eagles-Cowboys game, I will talk more about this. I know we talked about this when we were making our picks last week. And I was the sucker who believed Robert Saleh when he kept saying, oh, Mike White's fine. Mike White's fine. Now we find out he's got broken ribs on both sides of his body.
Not cleared to play at all.
If I'd known Zach freaking Wilson was starting, I would have picked the Lions. And even with that, the Jets came very close. Very close to winning. But Saleh's the one to blame. Now, you can say I am a traitor. I did not watch the Eagles-Bears. I watched this game because I wanted to watch a game that actually mattered.
And you missed a pretty good game.
I know. I've heard. I have it on the DVR. Maybe sometime I'll dig it up. But the Lions didn't do anything overly special except for the one play, 4th and inches. And the Jets defense, the vaunted Jets defense, blew it completely.
Wasn't even close.
Everybody's joking about how the slowest guy on the field gets that little fourth down play action pass from Jared Goff, runs 50 yards, almost untouched, down and wins the game. And you got no goddamn well if Zach Wilson's got to come back. That ain't going to happen. But it still wasn't all his fault. Robert Saleh, I have never seen a coach mismanage timeouts as badly as he did in the last minute and 20 seconds of this game.
Maybe a few weeks earlier, Jeff Saturday, not using any timeouts.
But, oh, my God, I was screaming at the TV. Yes, I had an interest because I picked the Jets. But I was screaming at the TV, call a timeout, Saleh! Jesus Christ! And then the next day I'm vindicated because as I listened to my New York sports channel, they're all with me saying they were screaming at the TV too because he did not call the timeout.
Nope.
When he was supposed to.
Pitiful. Absolutely
And he put that poor kid, well, he's banging his mom's hot girlfriends. I can't say he's a poor kid. He's having a better life than all of us. But Jesus, God, give him better situations to
Yeah.
play in, coming back off the bench after sitting there for a couple weeks.
Try and help him succeed,
Yes.
not fail again.
So the Lions end up pulling it out 20-17. All I can say coming out of this game is that I don't believe in the Jets unless Mike White's their quarterback, and I don't know what to think of the Lions when they're playing outdoors because they couldn't run the ball. They could not run the ball. Goff is at least a good game manager.
Yeah. He didn't throw the game away. That's all that like we said before with the Niners, that's all Purdy has to do.
Right. So we'll see. Now, you're talking about a team with the number one defense in the league versus a mediocre
Lions.
to low defense with the Lions. The Patriots and the Raiders. Oh, my God. Oh, my God.
What?
Who would have thought a Bill Belichick coach team would make the epic brain fart of all time?
That was an ungodly mistake.
You didn't have to lateral the ball. It was tied. The clock was running out. It would have gone to overtime.
What in God's green earth were they thinking? You don't do that.
I think it was Jacoby Myers. I believe it was the wide receiver. Now, Stevenson, the running back, kind of pitched the ball back to him. He claims that he was losing control of the ball, which I think is bullshit.
No, he had full control, and he tried to
He pitched it back to the wide receiver, Jacoby Myers, but then Myers inexplicably tries to do a lateral across half the field to Mac Jones, the quarterback, and all that's back there is Raiders.
Yeah, it was absolutely stupid. You eat
Mac
it
Jones
at that point.
gets face planted as the Raiders catch the ball and run it all the way back as time expires for the game-winning touchdown. You go to overtime. Belichick has had nothing going on in that game. Mac Jones looked abysmal.
Again.
But they could have outcoached, which is what we talked about last week in our picks. That's why we all took the Patriots. It's because we said, no matter what happens, Bill Belichick's
will
team
not lose to one of his underlings.
Yes, Bill Belichick will outcoach Josh McDaniel. That team will be disciplined. They will figure out a way. The Raiders will make the mistakes, and God forbid it was the exact opposite.
Never did I see that one coming.
Who would have thought a Bill Belichick coach team would be the laughing stock of the NFL? So the Raiders beat the Patriots 30-24. The Chargers, we all predicted this, or most of us did.
Yep.
They held on. That Titans team just can't generate any offense beyond Derrick Henry.
No. And I'm sorry, but the Chargers should have won by more than 3 damn points.
Very good call. Very good call.
There's no reason it should have been that close a game.
Right. Now, the Titans do have a good defense.
They do, but it's not that good to stop everything that the Chargers have.
Agree.
Again, their coach is killing them.
Right. And unfortunately, the way things are going, they're going to slide into the playoffs and save his job.
Yeah, but if they're one and done, that shouldn't do it.
Another game, just like the Vikings and the Colts, a tale of two halves. The Bengals and the Buccaneers. Buccaneers come out
on fire.
And you're thinking they're finally waking up. They realize even though it's been a bad season, they have this cherished golden path to the playoffs, considering they are in the worst division by far in the NFL. So they know they've got to start turning it on and get ready to start playing the Cowboys or the Vikings or the 49ers, whoever the opponent's going to be.
And yeah, they got off to a hot start, and then Joe Burrow took over, and the Bengals defense started to play.
The team with the most talent, the better coach team, again, I will say, the better coach team came up big in the second half. Bengals win 34-23.
Again, second half, Brady looked very pedestrian.
And I don't know if it's him. I agree. 4 turnovers. But I don't know if it's him. Again, I blame the stone-faced, unemotional Todd Bowles on the sidelines. Bruce Arians would have been red-faced on the verge of a stroke, screaming at everybody and anybody and trying to fire them up and getting them to play better.
And instead, they're just do.
Yeah. So I don't know. The Buccaneers, again, will probably stumble into the playoffs, but I don't know what's going to happen. They're going to get a home game if they win the division, too.
Yeah.
So at least they'll have to go through Tampa, but they have got to. I would have fired Todd Bowles a month ago.
Yeah, they're so underperforming.
It's pathetic. Giants Commanders, Sunday Night Football. Big game. A couple big plays on the defensive side by the Giants.
And that's...
Kayvon Thibodeau finally shows up, the top 10 draft pick, defensive end. Had a forced fumble, touchdown. Tyler Heineke, the pressure got to him a little bit. He had a couple bad plays that cost him the game. Now, the officiating
that was
at the end
abysmal.
Was terrible on 2 different plays.
The officiating all weekend was god-awful.
Now, the first play was when the Commanders went in and scored what could have been, with the 2-point conversion, the game-tying touchdown, but they were called for illegal formation because the receiver was deemed to be too far off the line. Therefore, they didn't have enough players on the line of scrimmage. But hearing the breakdown Monday morning, the line judge on the side, the receiver usually looks at the line judge and says, am I on the line? Am I okay? The receiver says in this instance, he looked at the line judge nodded, and then the minute the ball was hiked, he threw the flag.
That's bullshit.
And then when they had to retry it again, you have got blatant pass interference.
Oh, that was
the Giants defenders got both arms draped over,
holding him back, preventing him from catching the ball.
No call.
No call.
This is the kind of stuff where people start talking about fixes, especially now with sports gambling being so prevalent.
You've seen so much in the way of bad calls, obvious pass interference, no pass interference being called pass interference. My God, the holding, the egregious holds that are allowed to take place. You got some quarterbacks who get absolutely hammered that there should be roughing, no calls.
Mike White, like we were talking about.
Fields, again on Sunday, slid, got hit in the head, nothing.
But then last Sunday, we had that abysmal call in the Dolphins-Chargers game.
Yeah.
Where the defender for the Dolphins put his arms out
to
stop
keeping
from
his weight
driving Justin Herbert into the ground. They still threw the flag. So I don't know. You tell me. I don't know.
This is the epitome of you have to have full-time officials where you can take every crew, sit them down in a central place, review everything, and get them all on the same damn page so every crew calls consistency across the board.
Something's got to be done.
Because every crew calls a game differently. And it's ridiculous.
Yeah, because we hear when we watch the games, we hear the commentators will tell us, well, this crew...
They'll call holds all day long. This crew will call anything pass interference.
This crew
that
lets
crew
everything
ignores
go.
Everything.
Right. It should not be like this. The same thing in baseball when we talk about Angel Hernandez.
The worst
how terrible
ever.
He is. Can we get a little bit close to a norm without having to resort? Nobody wants more replay. Nobody wants more replay because all it's going to do is bog the game down. I don't want college football. I don't want 4-hour and 15-minute games.
No.
But at the same time, we've got to get everything right. And there are very few calls where I would say you can't make that decision in 10 seconds. Somebody upstairs should be able to call down in 10 seconds and go, that's not the right call. Overturn it now. Instead of having, the camera in the face and sitting there, I got to look through this replay 15 times.
No, you
don't. To make sure I don't make the wrong call. I got to save my ego and save my crew's ego and not overturn a call to make us look bad. All right, of course, we're going to have spillage, but that's what happens in the heart of the NFL season. A couple other tidbits before we get into NFL Week 16. Yes, I did get that right. Clinching playoff spots, clinching division spots. The Vikings clinch the NFC North.
Yeah, there wasn't that much there.
Chiefs clinch the NFC West. And, of course, the 49ers clinch the NFC West.
Yep. Now, can we talk about the asshole that is Aaron Rodgers and his inability to communicate with his young receivers during the week in practice?
Do you really think I'm going to turn down any chance to talk about the lateral thinker?
My God. The comments, he's brushing his sleeve trying to get Watson's attention. And Watson takes off. Rodgers throws the ball behind him. Should have been an easy score. All right. Did you ever communicate to him what that motion means? Probably not. And then the comments, well, if he wants to catch touchdowns, he's got to run the right routes. And then on his butt buddy Pat McAfee's show, again, McAfee will not ask him the difficult question. Do you ever communicate with these guys? Are you ever in the room with them going over what everything is? Do you try and help them improve to make the team better? No, he just lets Rodgers ramble on like the complete mental moron he actually is.
Yeah, Aaron's too busy going home and banging his witch girlfriend.
God, the arrogance of that dipshit.
There are some people out there who are seeing this because there are a lot of people that ripped on him. His one interception against the Rams on Monday night, they did win. They won 24-12 over the Rams, but everybody expected it. But the Packers still don't look good.
No, they don't.
And Aaron Rodgers threw an abysmal interception, like a Zach Wilson type of throw.
Yeah, it wasn't even close to where Lazard was. And Lazard and him can be on the same page. And Lazard ran for years. Yeah, Lazard ran the right route. Rodgers just completely misfired. And he's just like shrugs, whatever. Doesn't know.
We're starting to hear rumors that, yes, once again, Dave and I talked about this a while back, probably a month or two ago. They can trade Aaron Rodgers after June the 1st. They can't do it before June the 1st.
No.
After June the 1st, I think it's an $18 million dead cap hit, which is manageable.
Right. They can deal with that.
I'm wondering if that's not going to happen. Because I've got to believe they are fed up with him.
They've got to be, with his inability to actually go in and work with the
front office has got to be looking at what happened with Seattle and Denver, what we were just talking about a few minutes ago, and seeing how Seattle, even though they were projected to be a dung heap this year, actually played respectable football.
Because everybody got on the same page.
You bring in the backup, the veteran who's trying to fight for his career, playing above his head.
Yep.
And then you let go the pompous, arrogant veteran who started to decline. They saw it right on time.
Yep.
Started to decline. Last year, the finger injury. He broke that finger. They knew that wasn't the problem. There was
other stuff going on.
They suckered Denver into making that trade.
And then Denver was stupid in giving him an extension immediately without seeing him on the field.
Oh, Dave and I have got so much more to talk about, kids. Our Week 16 picks, as I mentioned, are coming up. You're going to have to stay tuned, though. Spillage, segment 2 will start off with NFL Week 16. We'll be right back. you tired of getting body slammed by the mainstream sports media? Are you sick of their lame trash talk? Check out Sports Frenzy 2.0 with a tag team of the Maestro and the Conquistador. Pile drive those jackasses into submission. Available on all major podcast hosts, including Spotify, Anchor, Google, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, Breaker, Apple, Overcast, and Castbox. Kev Dave slap a figure 4 on all the major sports networks who lie, kiss ass, and refuse to take names. New episodes drop every Thursday with new weekend edition episodes every Saturday. And that's the bottom line, 'cause Sports Frenzy said so.
All right, kids, it's Spillage here on Sports Frenzy 2.0 here as we tape Wednesday, the 21st of December, counting down the days to Christmas. We have NFL Spillover on Spotify, Anchor, Google, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, Amazon, Audible, Apple, Overcast, Castbox, and Stitcher! He's the maestro, Kevin Crane.
And he's the conquistador, Dave Height. So it is time for us to look at NFL Week 16. Again, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday. We're not picking the Monday night game, though, because the Colts are playing. So
yeah, there's no reason to.
Although Brandon Staley will figure out a way to make it a close game with the Chargers.
There's no.
But we only pick the best of the best, the toughest of the toughest. So Thursday night, December the 22nd, tomorrow night, this will hit in the morning on the 22nd of this game. The Jaguars, the resurgent Jacksonville Jaguars, against the New York Jets in
Zach
New York.
Wilson-led Jets.
Yes, because again, as we talked about in the last segment, Mike White has multiple rib fractures, which they lied about or didn't talk about.
Yeah.
Which hosed me last week. It's not going to hose me this week.
Not with the way the Jaguars are playing right now.
I don't care if it's in cold weather. Trevor Lawrence is finally learning, finally stepping up, finally showing.
Peterson is showing what a good coach can do with this talent on the team.
And you really wonder, did poor Trevor Lawrence waste an entire year? If he'd had Doug Peterson last year, would the learning curve have been a lot more accelerated to the point where this year the Jaguars would be in the lead in that train wreck of a division by 3 or 4 games?
You got to look. You could say the same thing with Matt Nagy trying to destroy Justin Fields last year.
Yep.
So
the funny thing is, of the 8 panelists picks we have in, the majority is with the Jets.
Yep.
Even after what I endured last week, they still don't learn from my mistakes. They don't learn from the awful, awful, disastrous experience I had with the Lions game last week. Jen, Nick, Bill, and Aaron all go with the New York Jets. Oh, my God.
You and me and Sam are taking the Jags.
This was like one of the first games I wrote down.
Gimme.
Yeah. And the point spread, I get it. The point spread's it's close to even.
It is, and probably rightly so.
You get the 3 points for the Jets being the home field, the home team. But, oh my God, how could you pick against the red-hot Jaguars right now against Zach Wilson?
Exactly. All right, coming in, Saints going up to Cleveland to play the Browns. Bad weather, indoor team, playing a horrible offense. But the way the Browns defense is playing should be enough for the Browns to take out the Saints.
Yeah, this is going to be a low-scoring game. Andy Dalton does know how to play in bad weather from his years in Cincinnati.
But that doesn't mean he can play well.
Well, and it also doesn't mean Alvin Kamara can run well in bad weather, since all he's known is playing in the Dome or playing in Tampa or Atlanta or Carolina in his division.
He doesn't get that much cold weather stuff.
Right.
But that being said, everybody, the Browns except for Sam on Saints Island.
I'll take that. As bad as the Browns have looked winning,
Right.
I still think, like you said, the defense is good enough. Stefanski is a better coach than Allen.
Yep.
And Deshaun Watson is only going to get better.
At some point.
Now, you wonder about his acclimation to cold weather and
Yeah.
bad weather as well. But
all he has to do is hand the ball to Chubb.
And if Chubb is dinged up, might not play, but you got Kareem Hunt.
Right.
That's why you have Kareem Hunt.
Yeah, that dual running threat, they can carry the day.
Yep. We talked about the Giants and their win against the Commanders. Now they go in to play the Minnesota Vikings. Cold weather, yes, but a dome. Weather is not a factor.
Yep.
The Vikings get that extra day of practice, that extra day of rest. They played Saturday. The Giants played Sunday night. And I think the Giants played the perfect game for them. It took the perfect game
for them to beat the Commanders, another middling
Now, the
team.
one thing that worries me about this game is that the Vikings head coach came out and started talking about resting players already.
It's too early.
It's too early
It's
for
too
that.
early.
You've still got a shot at the number 2 seed.
Which would give you...
And if you start resting players, before you know it, the 49ers are going to be passing you and bumping you down to the number 3 seed.
Yeah.
You got a shot at the number 1 if the Cowboys beat the Eagles this week.
Right.
But you could
got
slip
to play
to 3
it out.
if you don't keep
you
the
want
49ers
that first round bye. That's your week to rest.
Right. That being said, we're all calling BS for the most part on that. We're all taking the Vikings, except
for Aaron, who is on Giants Island. Now, the reason we're doing this, Doug is the one who doesn't have his picks in yet. He hasn't hit the deadline, so we're okay. But we can't make fun of Doug's picks yet.
Right. 7 of the 8 panelists are in. Bengals at the Patriots. Now, before the debacle that we saw here this past Sunday with the Raiders game, I think people would have had a lot more confidence in maybe taking the Patriots
potentially
at home. Bad weather again. But now the Bengals know about bad weather.
The Bengals can play in it. The Bengals, they're the more talented team.
They're arguably, we'll take the Eagles out of the NFC. We can take the 49ers too. Bengals are one of the 5 best teams right now in football.
They are.
And the Patriots, after
are
that,
not.
I don't know. Is Belichick losing control of these players? Are they not listening to him?
Or are they just not that good?
And Belichick's to blame for that because
right.
he's the one making those personnel decisions.
Yeah.
All 7 panelists across the board go with Cincinnati.
Yep. Now we have the Lions going down to Carolina to play the Panthers.
This shocks me a little bit. This shocks me. Panelists across the board, all 7 so far, are with Detroit.
Yep. Even though they did not look that great playing outside
The
in New
Panthers
York.
have looked better under interim coach Steve Wilkes. It's, again, outdoors. The weather will be better, but still.
But there's something about that Panthers team that they're just not.
Oh, wait, yeah. It's another reject New York Jets quarterback. That's what it is. That's what it is.
There it is.
They go Zach Wilson to Sam Darnold. So why not take the Lions?
Exactly. There you go. All right. Rolling in. The Commanders traveling out west to play the Niners.
Now, we put this on the slate because it's 2 playoff teams as we tape. So we've got to do it. We got to do it.
We've got to do it, but they're not anywhere in the same class.
This would be like what you and Aaron have forced me to take out of our college picks. This would be like number 1 Alabama against number 24 Mississippi.
Right.
Where you wouldn't let me take that because the point spread
is like
20 points. Right.
Yeah.
No, there's no doubt here. If this would
If
be
the
one
Niners do not win this one, they do not deserve to go to the playoffs.
That being said, all 7 panelists
take the 49ers.
Now, here's where we go back to my rant about Robert Saleh and the New York Jets from last week. What? What are you talking about? This is the Eagles and the Cowboys. Because Nick Sirianni. Jalen Hurts heals quicker than all of us. He's not a mere mortal.
His pain threshold is amazing. He's got a sprained throwing shoulder.
This is a lie. I learned about this last week because I am such a trusting human being.
You need to become more cynical like I am.
I do not trust Nick Sirianni. I think it's going to be Gardner Minshew, and as much as I love Gardner Minshew, the mullet,
the stash,
I love everything about Gardner Minshew. The Cowboys, after being embarrassed last week against the Jaguars,
they're coming home, and they are going to have it all out for the Eagles. This is their Super Bowl to this point. This is the statement game that the Cowboys have to have.
Agree completely. This will keep them in play for that number 1 seed. They will force the Eagles to have to play the last couple weeks of the season hard, play their starters. You and I have got the Cowboys. So does Aaron, and so does Jen.
Yep.
But the Eagles, for Sam, for Bill, and for Nick.
Interesting.
They must have faith that Jalen Hurts will play. I don't think
Hurts
he's going
is
to.
hurt. I don't think you're going to see him.
You might as well give him the week off.
Let him rest the shoulder. Why are you going to put the entire season at risk on one game?
Now, normally, of course, we save our moments of silence for the end of the show. But I felt that right now, as we're going to pick the Raiders and the Steelers, that it would be time to discuss the passing of the shocking, to me, passing this morning, late yesterday, early today, the passing of the great Franco Harris.
Yep, just a couple days shy of the 50th anniversary of the Immaculate Reception.
And everybody's been talking about it. We saw it all weekend when the NFL Network had their triple header on Saturday, nonstop promotion.
Yep.
And this awful. Now, I don't want to sound callous. I'm not saying awful timing because of caring about the media and caring about
but it's never a good time.
It would have been great for him to be able to go through this process, get inducted into the Steelers Ring of Honor, because it's only 2, is my understanding right now. Only 2 players. He was going to be the 3rd. He will be the 3rd, but he would have been around to see it if he just made it through another week.
Yep.
That's what's so heartbreaking to me.
And his stellar player.
Underrated.
Completely
underrated.
The only issue I ever had with him was how staunch he supported Joe Paterno and Penn State through the god-awful, abysmal pedophile case of Jerry Sandusky.
True. I agree with you on that. I do agree with you on that. But beyond that, sad day in pro football.
Yep.
To lose one of the greats, one of the
legendary running backs.
I think he was probably top 20 all time, if not top 15. And he never gets the credit for that because everybody remembers the Immaculate Conception. Conception.
Well, that's this time of year. We're celebrating that on Saturday.
I'm still thinking about Mandy Rose last week getting fired
on
from
Sunday.
NXT.
Yeah.
I'm thinking about conceiving with her.
Sunday is Christmas, the result of the Immaculate Conception.
Maybe that's what I'm thinking of. Yeah.
Jesus is the reason.
I don't have dirty
season,
thoughts,
kids.
Dave. I don't have dirty thoughts. No, come on. That being said, I think the Steelers, I know it's cliche, the Steelers win this for Franco.
Yep. It's, again, you're going to have crappy weather this weekend when they're playing. The Raiders coming across. They're
harder for Devontae Adams to blow up like he has been all year. For a mediocre team, he has been phenomenal. But like you said, bad weather. This is going to be Najee Harris in tribute to Franco Harris, runs for 150 yards, 3 touchdowns, and sends my fantasy team to the finals. God damn it. I deserve this.
No, you don't. Nobody deserves it.
You're just mad because you didn't make the playoffs.
I did not, and the hell with it all. I need Devontae to have a big week to keep me out of the bottom game so I don't get the banner.
Yeah, we'll get to that. We'll get to that in a minute because I have a complaint about one of our panelists, and I hope you kick his ass this week. That being said, Steelers for me, for Dave, for Sam, and for Aaron, Bill, Jen, and Nick are going with the Raiders.
All right, there you go. Now we have Mr. Fucked Up Lateral Thinker, Aaron Rodgers, taking the Packers down to Miami to play Tua and the Dolphins.
Christmas football! Good! Christmas football!
Thank you for Christmas Day football. Screw the NBA.
Oh, the NBA ratings are going to be in the tank.
Their quintuple header.
Nobody is going to be watching the NBA. No way.
No
Roger
way,
Goodell
no how.
has secretly got his jar of Vaseline, and he is flipping one out, thinking, I am going to show that freaking alien-looking motherfucker Adam Silver what is what and who the king of the sports world is.
Boom, confetti.
That being said, sorry.
That's all right.
Your Dolphins.
On a skid right now. This is one coming back home. They've had a brutal schedule all on the road. And now coming back home, getting the Packers, who are still struggling.
They did not look good beating the Rams.
And that's sad. That's sad.
At home, at Lambeau.
Home. So
bunch of Southern California namby-pambies.
Yep. So here we have Jen taking the Packers.
How does she do that?
I don't know. She is on Packer
That's grounds for divorce.
It is. The rest of us sane people are taking the Dolphins in the bounce back at home.
God help me, I'm even starting Jalen Waddle on my fantasy team.
I thought you were never starting him again.
Yeah, did you see what happened last week? Did you see what happened against the Bills in the snowstorm of the century? And I said, I got to see this ass. He put up 20 fucking points.
There you go.
So watch. I'll start him here. He'll put up 4 points. I will end up, even though Najee Harris
50.
Najee Harris will put up 30. Waddle will put up 4, and they'll cancel each other out.
All right. Now you got the God, do we have to do this?
This is one of those games where 2 awful teams play that makes it an interesting pick.
The Broncos go to LA to play the Rams.
Russell Wilson is supposed to play. Rams are on a short week compared to the Broncos. I have more faith in Sean McVay as a head coach
than
Nathaniel Hackett.
Exactly. The Rams on the bounce back at home. At home.
Bill is going with he's on Broncos Island.
He's on Bronco Island. Wow.
Lonely on that island with horses. No lube. Sorry, Clerks 3 joke. Sorry. If you haven't watched Clerks 3, watch Clerks 3.
There you go.
And then finally, will the Buccaneers bounce back?
At the Cardinals.
They have to.
They have to. Because the Cardinals are playing their 3rd string quarterback.
Which is why I'm starting Jalen Waddle over DeAndre Hopkins.
There you go. You have to.
Yeah, well, McSorley starting for the Cardinals. God help me, the Buccaneers have got to win this game.
They have to. The Cards are so bad. Buccaneers across the board, except Jen is on Cardinal Island. I don't get it. All right.
But we love Mississippi.
Yep.
We do love Mississippi. So, moving on to NCAA football. It's National Signing Day. I don't know if it holds the import that it used to because of the transfer portal, which we've been bitching
God.
and pissing and moaning about the last couple
frickin'
weeks.
transfer portal is absolutely abysmal.
So former Notre Dame quarterback Drew Pine goes to Arizona State. Five-star safety Peyton Bowen flips on signing day from Notre Dame, goes to Oregon.
Absolutely insane. And then you have, hold on, let me make sure I get the name right. Yeah, 4-star running back Jaden Lemar, previously committed to Notre Dame, also flips to Oregon. All right, Phil Knight, how much money did you shell out in NILs to those guys to get them to go there?
And, of course, Dave mentioned last week JT Daniels. He's officially picked his 4th school in 4 years.
Yeah, he's going to Rice. Notice he's had a steady progression down.
Gone from USC to Georgia to West Virginia, now to Rice.
Dude, you're not playing on Sunday. You can just get that out of your head right now.
In coaching news, Drew Brees is going to come in as an assistant coach for Purdue at the Citrus Bowl. Good for him.
Why not? What the hell?
Some school pride.
Yeah.
You know?
Get out there and see what you can help out.
Right.
You're not any good in the booth, so you might as well try your hand at coaching.
Yeah, you failed miserably. How do you fail miserably when you're sitting next to Tony Dungy? How do you fail? Jesus Christ. I don't understand that. I could get my neighbor down the road with a speech impediment, and he could go toe-to-toe with Tony Dungy. Bobby Petrino is back as well.
He got back on the motorcycle?
I was going to say, we've got to put an over-under on how long it's going to take before Bobby Petrino fucks up, especially since he's going to be the offensive coordinator at UNLV. He's going to be in Vegas.
Dude, come on. Seriously. With his history, that's not a good place for him to be.
Talk about the snake in the apple. I mean, Jesus God, Bobby Petrino in Vegas.
That's not good. No bueno.
All right, kids. We're going to run through last week's bowl picks real quick here because, honestly, they don't really matter in the end.
No.
UAB beats Miami of Ohio. The Cure Bowl, actually, last Friday was interesting.
Yep.
Troy beat Texas San Antonio. Did not like that. That did not work out for most of us. Cincinnati and Louisville. God damn it. God damn it.
I told you it was going to be Louisville.
God damn me for actually trying to apply logic to a situation. Oh.
Then
and SMU, same goddamn thing.
BYU plays like shit all year. SMU looks like they've got it going. And BYU pulls off the big win. And
then Fresno destroys Washington State. Yep. I don't get that at all.
That's all right. I got that one. Southern Miss over Rice. That was a no-brainer.
The next two also. Yeah. Florida. Boy, again, Florida has fallen off the map.
Abysmal.
Oregon State destroys Florida in the Las Vegas Bowl.
30-3. That was just crazy. I expected a close game at least.
Right, but we all picked it. But yeah, I mean, that's just terrible for Florida.
Yeah, and then Boise State squeaks one out over North Texas. All right. Marshall up over Connecticut, as we all expected. Eastern Michigan over San Jose State.
God damn it!
27.
God damn, my lead is shrinking.
Nick and I were the only two to take Eastern Michigan.
God, that pool is cold. I'm shrinking. The pool is cold. My lead is shrinking. Got that one back, though, the next one.
The next night, Toledo did get by Liberty by a couple of points.
So, I have got barely any kind of a lead in our football picks competition. But I'm
It's
still
cool. You're
clinging.
clinging to hope right now.
So that means we need to move on
Which
to...
means Sam, Bill, and I are breathing down your neck.
Shut up, Dave! You deserve that one. Yes.
Yeah, I did.
need to pull that one out. It's been a while.
It's been a while.
That. All right, picks for this week in bowls. Friday night, December the 23rd, the Independence Bowl.
In the shithole of Shreveport.
Louisiana versus Houston. Despite the fact, technically, it's a home game.
For Louisiana,
Houston's not that far away. Plus, they're much better.
They're much better. It's Houston across the board. The Gasparilla Bowl, Wake Forest and Missouri. This could be an intriguing game. Missouri, I don't know. It was a toss-up on that one.
Sam and I are taking Missouri. Everybody else taking Wake Forest.
I was that close to going with Missouri.
I ended up going with the stronger conference because the ACC, obviously not as strong as the SEC.
But a middling SEC versus a better ACC, one of the better, I don't know.
Wake Forest did not.
Wake, but
a lot of the ACC teams, of course, I would know because my Miami Hurricanes were one of them, shit the bed in the second half of the season. And Wake Forest was one of them. So I will go cautiously with Missouri.
Missouri didn't do any better going down the stretch either.
But again, stronger competition. Saturday, Christmas Eve, December the 24th, the Hawaii Bowl, Middle Tennessee State versus San Diego State.
God help us. You and I, along with Sam and Bill and Aaron, are going with San Diego State. They effed us earlier in the season.
That's why I don't care about the point spread. It's a 7-point point spread right now.
But
it scares me.
It scares the hell out of me. I flirted with Middle Tennessee.
Jen and Nick take Middle Tennessee State, and it scares me. This is one of those games that scares me. So, of course, we skip Christmas. We go to Monday the 26th.
The Quick Lane Bowl, New Mexico State and Bowling Green. God.
We're almost split.
We're almost
split 7, but we've got 3 Bowling Greens or 4 Bowling Greens.
4 Bowling Greens. That's...
For me, for Sam, for Jen, and for Nick.
Yep. Aaron, Bill, and I are going with New Mexico State.
I'll tell you why I went with Bowling Green. I don't trust independents. And I thought New Mexico State actually was in a conference.
I thought they were in one of the Western Conference. Nope. They're an independent.
They're an independent. So they have played a much lighter schedule than a Bowling Green has. So
we'll see how it works out.
All right.
That was one of those that I'm looking, and I just didn't like the points scored, points against differential for Bowling Green.
But again, I'm looking at who they're playing.
And it's still the MAC. All right. That brings us into, where the hell were we?
Tuesday. December the 27th.
The Camellia Bowl. Georgia Southern and Buffalo. Another one. This could be a very intriguing game.
Almost split on this one.
Yep. So I'm taking Buffalo along with Bill, Jen, and Aaron.
Georgia Southern for me, for Sam, and for Nick.
This is one that I really didn't have a feel for.
Well, we talked about this last week.
Most of these bowls you don't.
Yes. We are flying by the seat of our pants.
Yep.
We're not, as much as we know about sports, there are so many hours in a day, there's only so much research we can do. Some of these teams we don't know jack shit about.
Yep, and we cannot dedicate.
At least we admit it.
Yeah.
We're honest.
Most of us don't have the free time to be able to delve deeply into this stuff.
Yeah.
So.
Oh, wait, but I know everything about the First Responder Bowl between Memphis and Utah State. Now, again, a big point spread, 7.5 for Memphis. Aaron is the only one taking Utah State, and I will tell you this right now, this was the last game I picked.
This was a tough one to take.
The numbers, the prognosticators out there are all on board Memphis. There's something I like about Utah State, though. I could see biting us in the ass.
Yeah, I wouldn't be surprised.
Right. All right, last one before we have a little more spillage. The Carolina battle in the Birmingham Bowl. How does that make any sense? They're playing in Alabama,
but it's two Carolina teams. Yep. Coastal Carolina versus Eastern Carolina. Oh, man. This was another one of the last ones I picked.
And it's close to a split again.
Yeah.
So Dave and I, Sam, and Nick are taking East Carolina, whereas Bill, Jen, and Aaron are going with Coastal. Here's the thing.
I'm taking Eastern Carolina because they're the Pirates, and it's in memory of Mike Leach.
God damn, I love that logic. I love that. I, of course, am going with East Carolina because Coastal Carolina lost their quarterback to the transfer portal.
There's that, too.
Yeah.
But I like mine better.
I do, too. We'll be right back with segment 3, kids. Stay tuned. Feeling mildly fatigued? Need a day off even if you just took one a few days ago? Make $30 million a year but just don't want to work for it? You need to join the NBA Load Management Club right now. When they're not napping or texting, guest lecturers Anthony Davis and Kyrie Irving will describe foolproof ways to earn tens of thousands of dollars by not doing anything. Sports Frenzy 2.0, available on Spotify, Google, Radio Public, Pocket Casts, and wherever you listen to your favorite podcasts, is currently negotiating with LeBron James to bring his popular How to Make the Hall of Fame Without Really Trying webinar live and in person to the Load Management Club. Thanks again to Sports Frenzy 2.0 and all you apathetic fans out there for making us a success. All right, kids, college football spillage, bowl spillage here, December the 21st, 2022.
Sorry.
Dave brought popcorn, so it's happening to both of us. We're jamming popcorn down our throats when the other one's talking, and we don't have enough beer to clear our gullets because we're trying to talk as fast as we can and give you as much as we can. So we've got more bowl picks for you here.
Continuing the last game on Tuesday, December 27th, the Guaranteed Rate Bowl, Wisconsin versus Oklahoma State.
Tough game to call.
Oklahoma State loses their quarterback to the transfer portal.
Spencer Sanders is gone, yep.
Wisconsin.
I don't like the style of football that Wisconsin plays. I never have, and I never will. And right now, to my knowledge, they don't have that stud running back that they've had in the past, Jonathan Taylor, Ron Dane, those type of guys. But with
Oklahoma State pissed away the end of the season on a losing streak. I'm riding the mullet in this one. I'm taking Gundy and Oklahoma State. So is Jen and Nick and Aaron.
The old guard. The older guys, me and Sam and Bill, are taking Wisconsin. You hand that football off. You hand that football off 3 goddamn times.
And then
you don't
put it away.
Put it away. And you play some goddamn defense. God damn it. I actually have all my teeth. Made it sound like I've got dentures, but.
There you go. All right, Military Bowl. UCF versus Duke. Sam and I are on Duke Island.
It's another close game. This is another
toss-up. I went with Duke, as you mentioned earlier, with a stronger conference.
Yep. UCF for me, for Bill, for Jen, Nick, and Aaron. Staying with Wednesday, December the 28th, the Liberty Bowl. Kansas and Arkansas. Kansas had a wonderful start to this season.
And then they went boom.
But at least they gained some self-respect. They've gotten past the Charlie Weiss era.
Yep.
They are actually not the doormats of the Big 12 anymore. They're actually a respectable team. But that being said, I will take a middle-of-the-road SEC team over a middle-of-the-road Big 12 team any day of the week.
Yep. It's pretty much Arkansas for everybody except for Nick and Aaron at this point.
They go with the Jayhawks. The Holiday Bowl. We finally get a ranked team here.
Yep, finally.
Number 15, Oregon versus North Carolina.
No love for North Carolina in this one.
Mac Brown has got no defense on that team.
None at all.
We've seen that over the last couple of years since he took over the program. They score a lot of points, but they give up a lot of points.
Oregon's got a little bit better defense, and they still put up some points.
Yep. Across the board, Oregon. The Texas Bowl. Texas Tech and Mississippi.
This was a tough one to pick.
Yes
Mississippi, again, finished out loss after loss after loss after loss.
Agreed. And that's kind of disturbing considering the fact that Lane Kiffin finally committed to the program.
Right.
So I think that's the deciding factor, is now they know they've got their head coach. There's a little bit of stability there.
Texas Tech has stumbled and bumbled a little bit. They've been up and down all season. I think Mississippi has the stronger team.
We all agree, except for Jen.
Yep.
Mississippi has taken Texas Tech.
Probably in honor of Mike Leach. All right. Moving along, the Pinstripe Bowl. Syracuse versus Minnesota.
Isn't that the one they play at Yankee Stadium?
Yeah, that's
we'll get to that in a minute.
So, Syracuse started out like a house of fire, and then they, again, tanked away this season. So,
it seems to be a theme here with a lot of these teams we're talking about in these mid-level bowls.
Yeah, so Minnesota for you, me, Sam, Bill, Jen, Nick, and Aaron take Syracuse.
The Cheez-It Bowl.
It's
the
cheesy.
prestigious Cheez-It Bowl. Home to so many legendary outcomes and what? Oh,
never mind.
No, all I remember is the commercials where the professors and the doctors are
trying to get the cheesiest cracker possible.
The mature Cheez-It.
Yeah.
Oh, my God. I can't believe we've gone down this road. Oklahoma, it actually is a good matchup. Oklahoma versus number 13, Florida State. Now, here's the thing. A year ago, this would have been flipped completely.
Yeah. Oklahoma's got nothing right now.
And kudos to Florida State for turning that program around back to where it was 6-7 years ago.
Yep.
When Jimbo Fisher left.
Yeah, they're rising back to respectability. Florida State across the board. Then we go with the Alamo Bowl. Number 21, Texas versus number 12, Washington.
Finally, a good matchup.
A really good matchup. This was a tough one to figure. Texas has struggled here and there. Washington's been decent at times. I am taking the home team, Texas, as is Sam and Bill and Aaron.
One big change for Texas. They lose their running back, their star running back. I think Bijan Robinson.
Yeah.
I don't trust Sark yet. He burned me too many times this year when I picked Texas and they screwed me.
I still
trust Washington a little bit more.
Coming down from the Pacific Northwest.
Oh, stop it with the travel stuff. Jesus God.
Hey,
they had a month to do it. It's not the NFL where it's 4 days, 5 days. They had a month. Come on.
All right. As I said, when in doubt, take the home team.
Washington for me, Jen, and Nick. So that'll do it for our college football picks.
There you go.
This week. Now it is time for Dave and I to discuss Major League Baseball.
And we are going to absolutely go nuclear on the fucking New York Mets printing their own goddamn money. Absolutely ridiculous the way they came in to sign Correa.
I have so many problems with this. So many problems with this. And you can say we're all bitter. If you don't live in New York, you're bitter. Well, hell yes, we're bitter. Because I guarantee you, and I have not done the numbers, but if you took the Yankees payroll and the Mets payroll, it's probably more than the bottom half of Major League Baseball combined. I would be shocked if it wasn't. The Mets right now, after signing Carlos Correa for 12 years, $315 million, now we're looking at a payroll number at approximately $385 million with a $110 million tax penalty. Yes, putting their payroll number completely, what they have to pay to the players in the league at, yes, almost $500 million, which would make them the most expensive one-year franchise in North American sports history.
Absolutely ridiculous. This is the reason you have to have a hard cap and a hard floor. You need to have more of a competitive balance.
I don't even give a shit about baseball now this year. I don't give one rat's ass. And our teams actually did good signings this week that were supposed to give us some semblance of hope. But after this, how the fuck are we supposed to compete with New York? How the fuck are we supposed to compete with the Yankees and the Mets?
Who are just buying players left and right, trying to buy a World Series.
At least the Yankees, God forbid, I can't believe I'm saying this about the evil empire.
They actually
are trying to stay somewhat close to the luxury tax threshold, even after signing Carlos Rodon for 6 years and $162 million.
After the mega deal they gave Judge.
But outside of that, they haven't done much. They are actually trying to be somewhat
responsible.
The Mets,
they don't give a shit.
Cohen doesn't give a, I'm just going to buy a championship. And I could not watch or listen to my normal sports morning shows because they're all based out of New York. And they're all jacking off all over themselves because, they did great. 2 a.m. this morning, we heard Carlos Correa is going to the Mets instead of the Giants. Isn't it awesome? No, you're a bunch of hypocrites. And Boomer Esiason, I'm calling you out. You son of a bitch. For years, I have listened to you and I've respected your point of view. You have for years said, I used to be a representative for the Players Union, and every player in every sport should get the most money they could possibly get for all the other players. So, let me get this straight.
So it's all right for 5 players to make a boat shit ton of money, but nobody else gets to make anything.
No, but this is before we heard the details about what happened with the Giants and the Mets. Remember, Carlos Correa was going to sign for $350 million
for 13 years
with the Giants. Now he signs for 12 and $315. Boomers, oh my God, isn't it great? Isn't it great? You're the asshole that always says the player should take the most money. So why the fuck doesn't Carlos Correa renegotiate after this quote-unquote failed issue or medical issue, whatever it is? Why doesn't he renegotiate and still take the most money from the Giants? I guarantee you the Giants would have figured out a way to give him more than $315 million. But because it's your team, you're ecstatic. You're a hypocrite. You're a goddamn hypocrite. Admit it. You sit there and go, oh my God, I used to be a player rep. You've got to take the most money.
Yeah, you know what? Fuck you. You're part of the goddamn problem of all these escalating costs why fans cannot afford to go to a damn game with the family.
Oh, but of course he can. He can afford it because he's rich. That's the problem. All you're going to get now at these games are rich people You're never going to be able to afford to go to a baseball game if you're a common middle-class person.
If you are a true fan of the game, you're not allowed to go because you can't fucking afford it because of the rich assholes ruining everything.
And why would you want to go watch half of these games? Dave's White Sox just made a great signing. They signed Andrew Benintendi for 5 years, $75 million.
Reasonable. We got another legitimate outfielder that we needed. A solid bat. A guy who can hit for average. Who has a little bit of pop to it. We needed, that's what I wanted. He is the one guy I wanted to get this offseason. And I feel like shit because the Mets fucking overspend.
Same thing with me and the Cubs. As I predicted for the last 2 weeks, the Cubs had to panic, signed Dansby Swanson to a 7-year, $177 million contract, basically almost identical, 1 year less than Jason Hayward. And I hope I'm not cursing it. But what do I care? What hope do I have for the Cubs? None. Number one, they're probably still not better than St. Louis, who didn't steal. Sorry. Not the Cardinals' fault.
Who signed the free agent, Wilson Contreras.
Right.
Because the Cubs didn't want him. They never wanted him.
They could have given that fucking money they gave to Cody Bellinger to Wilson Contreras. Yes, it was 1 year versus 5 years. Still could have done it, and they didn't. Now all I see is, well, the Cubs need a catcher. The Cubs need a catcher. Well,
you had a fucking catcher.
You had one. God damn. So now I got to think, well, maybe we might get a wild card under the new flexible playoff standards.
Bullshit.
And the team we should feel bad about, if we care about competitive balance, is the Giants. The Giants tried to get Aaron Judge, tried to get Carlos Correa, basically rebuffed on both. So the fucking New York market gets what they want again in baseball. And I don't want a Subway Series. You can stick your Subway Series up your goddamn ass with no lube. I'm telling you.
Nobody else in the country outside of the state of New York is going to watch that
And
shit.
this is the problem with Major League Baseball.
It's all regional.
There is no leadership. Rob Manfred is an awful, awful commissioner. There is no leadership here, no vision here to make baseball better. And I'm not buying Bally Sports. I'm not buying the Marquee Network so I can watch this mediocre Cubs team finish with, at best, 85 wins. I'm not, because I know the Mets are going to blow them away in the playoffs. The Phillies are going to blow them away. The Braves are going to blow them away. The Dodgers are going to blow them away. Because this is the system you set up by not putting a floor in. The Pirates owner, the Reds owner, the Royals owners,
the A's,
they're all laughing because the more Steve Cohen goes over the luxury tax.
That's more money in their pockets that they don't have to spend.
It's an awful system. It is an abysmal, awful system baseball has. And you are killing not only fans like Dave and I, who grew up loving the game, but you're keeping anybody else younger from getting interested. They're watching the World Cup. They're watching soccer.
Fuck soccer.
Well, of course, but the problem is you are not building your sport by doing this, by letting Steve Cohen just spend all. Where, again, is the responsibility? How about you give some of that money to a goddamn charity or a local food bank instead of giving it to Carlos Correa when you're already over?
How about you try and help the damn homeless situation
in that piece of shit city that your team plays in? God, fucking hate baseball. I hate baseball. The last 2 years, I have watched less baseball than ever before, and it's not going to get any better this year.
No, there's no It's hard to generate any interest. And this is a game I loved growing up. This is a game I played through high school.
This is why the NFL still rules all. Is because all the teams have a chance to succeed. Even the Texans, the abysmal Houston Texans,
can turn it around.
2 years away from turning it around. They can get the franchise quarterback, and then they see they've got hope. They start spending money. Because the NFL owners all work together, outside of Dan Snyder, to make the entire sport better.
They want the competition. That's what drives it. That's why you can watch any game, regardless if you root for them or not, because you know you're going to get it most times a damn decent game.
The Bears are 3-11.
But
yet
they've been
hope.
Competitive.
There's hope
They've
there.
been in almost every game.
Now, do we have hope that the team will spend money? Probably not. But at least they don't look incompetent. But think about this. The Bears at 3-11
look better than the damn Colts.
Well, they are the equivalent, if you think about it, of the Pittsburgh Pirates in terms of record. The Bears have the second worst team in the NFL. So take the second worst team in baseball. Pirates, right? A's first.
Yep.
Pirates second. The Bears, as the second worst team in the NFL, have tons more potential, tons more promise going forward than poor Pittsburgh Pirate fans will ever have. It's amazing to me that they let this happen. They can't sell tickets. The fans, God bless the loyal Pirates fans, because they know what they're getting. They're getting shit.
And this is a historic franchise.
This is the franchise of Willie Stargell. This is the franchise of Barry Bonds, Andy Van Slyke, Bobby Bonilla before he got his 50-year contract with the Mets. Absolutely historic franchise. Dave Parker. We are family. And baseball just continues to be the snake that eats its own tail. It just wants to devour itself and destroy itself.
You know what? Let it. Let it sink to the abysmal depths where they have to fucking blow everything up and start from zero.
They won't, though. They won't.
There will come a point where it has to happen.
They won't. They won't. This won't be like hockey. I guarantee this will not be like hockey.
Everybody out there, stop watching baseball. Fuck it all.
That is the solution. We need to stop going to the games. We need to stop buying $12 beers and $8 hot dogs.
And $70 tickets.
And paying $50 for parking. We need to stop it.
Fuck them.
If the owners aren't going to put a product out there. Stop watching it on
TV. Just don't go.
Don't
watch.
If your team's not putting a product out there that's worth it, go read a book. Go watch a goddamn movie. Spend time with your family. Don't waste your time being a sycophant for a team that doesn't love you back. Couple other signings in baseball before we move on. This is, again, a signing that would have worked probably for both our teams that I don't understand why they let the Dodgers get J.D. Martinez for $10 million. Now, again, I know $10 million is a lot of damn money.
That's not
but in this
anything for a season for a first baseman like him.
Or a DH. Just a DH.
The White Sox need a tall first baseman. I would have loved to have had him taking over for Abreu.
This is why the Dodgers, despite the fact they have the most overrated manager in history, their front office knows what they're doing. Joey Gallo gets $11 million from the Twins.
That's a little pricey for him.
I don't know how he gets more than J.D. Martinez. I know Martinez is getting old, and he had a down year last year.
Gallo is on his last legs.
And again, the Astros are smart. They bring back Michael Brantley for a 1-year, $12 million deal plus incentives. The Astros are so goddamn smart.
They know what the hell they're doing. Even though they let their GM...
And I hope to God they beat the Yankees again this year. God, I am rooting for the Astros. I hope they beat the Yankees and the Mets. I hope they win another goddamn World Series. If our teams can't do it, then I want the Astros or the Braves. I want one of those teams that does it the right way, that locks up their young players, that brings up their young players, develops them properly, locks them up once they see the potential, long-term, jumps ahead of the arbitration situation.
You're going to hate me, but I would say fucking go Cardinals over those guys, too.
No, I agree with you. The Cardinals try to do things the right way, but they're not as good
anymore
as the Astros.
Not as
and
good
the
as
Braves.
they used to be.
Right.
But they still have.
No, if I had to put my money in the NL Central, I'm taking the Cardinals with Goldschmidt and with Arenado any day over anything the Cubs or the Brewers have tried to establish something.
The Brewers aren't.
But they don't spend money either.
No. They go cheap. They've got a great manager.
Craig Counsell's an unbelievable man. He's better than Aaron goddamn Boone.
Can you imagine?
If the Yankees got Craig Counsell, they would have had 2 titles by now over the last 5 years.
At least.
Craig Counsell is
a phenomenal manager.
10 times better manager than Aaron Boone. Now, Buck Showalter, probably even.
Probably an even.
But if Buck Showalter can't win with this team now with the Mets,
then fuck him.
Then he goes down as the most disappointing manager of all time. He's like Marty Schottenheimer.
Yeah.
You can give him all the talent in the world. He gets you this far and no further. All right, you're getting a bonus segment, kids. We're going to go 4 segments this week.
A rarity at this time of year.
Storm's coming in. We're going to have cabin fever. Dave's going to be stuck with his family. I'm going to be stuck with myself and my sex robot from Japan that's coming tomorrow. So, the weather outside is frightful.
As long as we don't lose power and the keg stays cold.
That's my fear. I don't care about shoveling snow. Don't lose power. I just want to be able to stream a movie or two. Listen to some music.
Beer out of the keg, shooting pool, throwing darts, playing shuffleboard.
Here we go again with the man cave of all time that Davis constructed for himself. Good for him. I'm happy for him. And I'm stuck here looking at my 10-year-old posters of the Punisher and Night Ranger.
And Hard Target.
Where's my jar of Vaseline? Not because of you, Van Dam. Not because you're a good-looking man, but I'm not into that. All right, one last segment left. Believe it or not,
it's going to be a quickish segment.
No, I got a lot of NBA to talk about.
We don't have that much.
Yes,
NBA.
we do.
No, we don't.
I will get you into the NBA.
Don't give a shit about the NBA.
You will care about these topics.
I don't.
You will care about these topics.
All right, let's get this shit over with.
Segment 4 coming up, kids. We'll be right back.
Greetings, sports fans. Listen to the screaming geniuses of Sports Frenzy 2.0 every Thursday as they bring you the thrill of victory and the agony of stupidity on Spotify, Anchor, Google, Radio Public, Pocket Cast, Breaker, Apple, Overcast, and Castbox. And check out the Facebook page, Sports Frenzy 2.0.
I go for the...
Hey, everybody, we're waiting for the bomb cyclone to hit here in the Midwest. So we're getting you an extra special bonus segment here on Sports Frenzy 2.0.
Merry Christmas, everyone.
Hitting here December the 21st, 2022. This will drop the morning of the 22nd, right before the latest winter apocalypse hits.
Winter Storm Elliott.
Yeah.
Why are we fucking naming winter storms
name? I
now?
didn't see that.
Yeah, they're now naming winter storms. What kind of bull crap is this?
I don't know. At least
it's freaking December in the Midwest. We get snow.
Can we at least
deal with it?
Can we at least name them after porn stars to make it more interesting?
Winter Storm Ginger.
Amber. Stripper names. Oh, that'd be awesome.
Although if it's gonna have a lot of snow, maybe you should name it Winter Storm John Holmes as a measuring stick.
It's gonna be a long, long winter.
It's a long, hard weekend, kids.
All right. David,
Wow, that went downhill quick.
Yeah, good thing the elder statesman's not here because he would quit because we're destroying his reputation. That's a 30-year-old joke, kids. Deal with it. All right. Dave and I have got to wrap up the miscellaneous sports tidbits of the week. We've covered football. We have torn baseball to shreds. I guess we have to talk about the World Cup, but we're going to make it fun. We're going to make this fun because...
Don't cry for me, Argentina. Congratulations.
Argentina beats France.
In the shootout.
4-2.
I had to watch the end of it, waiting for coverage of the Bears. Oh, that was frustrating as hell.
But like I said, I will make this more fun than it would be for those of us who can't stand soccer. Number one, I don't know if this is fun, but there was some woman in the crowd who was so happy with Argentina winning, she took her top off on
Oh,
TV.
well, hell.
But here's the problem. In Qatar or Qatar, again, I don't know what you want to call the damn city, state, region.
To me, it's always Qatar.
This topless woman got taken away because you are not allowed as a woman to expose yourself. They have told people, men and women alike, do not expose your shoulders, your knees. So you had to wear...
Screw Qatar.
Well, of course, America is the worst country in the world because we let people do that, right?
Oh, we're more repressed.
I hope that woman gets to go wherever she came from, gets to go home okay, because there's nothing wrong with showing your boobies. As we know, going to Steel Panther concerts every year.
Or going to see Motley Crue with Tommy Cam.
Yeah, but lately it's Tommy showing his ass.
Or his schlong.
Yeah. Now, the other thing about the World Cup. Social media. One of the few times social media does something good for the world. Miss Argentina and Miss Puerto Rico were a thing here recently.
Yes,
right?
yes. They kept their relationship secret.
Well, now it's out there for all the world to see, and now because of the World Cup result, there's some wonderful pictures of Miss Argentina and Miss Puerto Rico kissing in celebration
Aww.
of Argentina winning. Now, Sports Frenzy 2.0 does not condone aberrant sexual behavior, but seeing two unbelievably beautiful women kiss, there's nothing wrong with that, kids. There is nothing wrong with that.
Next.
I might have pushed Dave too far.
We're still talking about soccer. I don't care.
No, not anymore. We're done with soccer. So, Massachusetts Governor Charlie Baker will now take over as the new president of the NCAA starting March the 1st.
Poor bastard has no idea what he's in for.
Does the NCAA have any power anymore?
No.
Didn't they pretty much give it up once they allowed the transfer portal to open up and the NIL deals to open up?
Yep. The NIL was one thing. The transfer portal bullshit is going to destroy the game, and it's already begun.
In media news, how things have changed. We had heard Amazon, we had heard Apple Plus was going to get the Sunday ticket. Now it looks like within the next day or two, YouTube TV will get the NFL Sunday ticket.
Holy crap.
Yep. Google has jumped in to the fray.
Damn.
And they are in final negotiations with the NFL. why I say YouTube TV and not YouTube, like a lot of the media outlets out there are saying, is because I have heard, and I'm not saying this because I have YouTube TV, I'm not getting the Sunday ticket. I see plenty of football. I watched too much football this past weekend. I'll end up watching too much football this coming weekend.
You really don't need the Sunday ticket.
You get your local teams anyway.
Most of the time.
You're fine. Why spend $300, $400
just to watch if you live across the country from your team that you don't get to watch them? Is it really worth that much money?
Supposedly, for a lot of people, it is. But
I would not shell out that kind of money to watch the Dolphins.
Well,
sorry.
On top of that, Dave, you will have to be a subscriber to YouTube TV. Is what I've heard.
Oh, so you have to subscribe to YouTube TV and purchase the Sunday ticket, both.
Correct.
Well, that's a kick in the crotch for everybody.
Again, the greed of sports has no end. And again, I have YouTube TV. I love it. You better not jack up the price for me. That's all I'm saying. You better not.
Because if the Sunday ticket is a separate subscription, it should have no bearing on your standard service.
Thank you. See, he's sane. The rest of the world might be insane. Dave and I are sane. Golf. It's been too long since we talked about golf.
Big
the Masters,
golf news.
The Masters. Kind of, maybe, sort of.
They get
begrudgingly.
it. They kind of get it. They want the best possible field playing at Augusta. So they are going to allow the live golfers to participate.
Basically, what they're saying is anybody who qualified in 2022, those rules still apply for 2023. So, yes, all the live golfers will be able to play at Augusta. In 20, thank freaking God.
There's some sanity
somebody
involved.
Other than that idiot ass bag Rory McIlroy is talking about bringing people together in the golf world and making this whole clusterfuck work.
Hey, Rory, fuck you. You're going to lose the Masters.
I hate him. I'm getting to the point now where I'm going to move him up in the line for the plane of doom.
He is on the plane of doom.
Him and Tiger can sit together on the plane of doom. Because all of a sudden, Rory McIlroy thinks he's the Lord God King of golf.
Yep. Let's see Rory lose another Masters.
Do we want to talk about hockey?
That the Blackhawks are now officially last place in all of the NHL?
Maybe.
As expected?
Maybe.
It is what it is.
I'm sorry.
I told you I expected nothing. I was surprised in week 2 and 3 of the season when they actually looked like they were playing pretty well and were on a little bit of a run. And after that, they just nosedived right into the toilet.
Now, here's the topic with hockey that I wanted to bring up with you, since you are our hockey expert. Gary Bettman isn't happy with the amount of rivalry games that are being played right now under the 82-game schedule.
He screwed it up when they revamped all the conferences and divisions.
He wants 84 games now.
No.
To add a couple rivalry games into the schedule.
If you want your rivalries back, put things back the way they were.
There you have it. I will always defer to the conquistadors.
If you want more rivalries, put Detroit and Chicago back in the same division.
There you go. Dave does not like this because I told him I actually, for this week, have a lot of NBA news. He is going to be reactionary. He is going to listen, and then he will react to what I have to say for the next 10 minutes about the NBA.
What?
There you go. There's a reaction. Injury news. Steph Curry. Shoulder, ablation? What do they call that? It's not a separation. It's an ablation. I guess it's an inflammation.
Oh, he's got a sprained shoulder.
He'll be out for at least a couple weeks, if not a month.
Whatever.
Street clothes is back. Just as the Lakers were starting to get on a roll and play better, Anthony Davis has a foot injury that will keep him out 3 to 4 weeks minimum.
Gee, it was only a matter of time.
Love Charles Barkley for calling him street clothes. Love him. Just love him so much. Damian Lillard has become the Portland Trail Blazers' all-time leading scorer, beating Clyde the Glide Drexler.
Wow. That's impressive.
It's a little sad, isn't it?
Yeah.
You kind of you think of Clyde the Glide as the
one
face
of those
of the
upper
Trailblazers.
echelons.
Got to remember, though, he also played a while for the Rockets.
He did.
So
He's split time, so not completely surprising when you put that piece in there.
I, of course, have to talk about my Orlando Magic because now they finally think they're a good team. They are no longer in Tankathon.
They're no longer in the basement?
They won 6 of their last 7, including 2 in Boston against the Celtics.
Wow.
Back to back.
Wow. That's impressive.
They are now up to 11-21. I know that doesn't sound impressive, but considering where they were, I think they might have finally figured it out. I would not be shocked if they make the playoffs this year, given how easy it is to make the playoffs in the NBA.
And it is the East.
Yes, and I have to admit, I know you kind of like the Celtics.
I do.
But I didn't mean to say that in terms of...
Hey, no, good for them.
Boston was the top team in the East until the Magic came to town and laid the beat down on them twice. Now they're second, behind the Bucks. The Phoenix Suns have been sold because, of course, we know about the whole what Robert Tarver
and the toxic
just
work
like the
environment.
Washington Commanders. They've been sold to Matt Ishbia. I probably butchered that name, but that's the best I can do.
Japanese or Korean?
I don't know, former player, but I don't know. Supposedly made his fortune in mortgages, so he's probably a dirtbag, buying and selling people's lives and their houses and
selling them out from under them. And
yeah. $4 billion.
So he's a legitimate slumlord.
$4 billion for the Phoenix
Suns?
$4 billion.
For the Phoenix Suns.
You get the Mercury, too.
For the Phoenix Suns.
No, Dave. You get the Mercury, too.
For the Phoenix Suns.
Don't dismiss the WNBA like this.
They cannot make a profit.
Actually, that probably brought it down from $4.5 billion.
Yeah, no, exactly.
He probably would have paid $4.5 billion just for the Suns, and they said, "No, we'll knock it down to $4 billion if you take the Mercury
too." Go buy me.
Welcome back home, Brittany Griner. Sorry. How about this to continue the feel-good vibes for the NBA?
We've had some.
I was being sarcastic. The Brooklyn Nets were fined $25,000 by the league for injury reporting violations, as they had 8 players in a game against the Pacers listed as out for various...
their entire starting lineup.
And they still won the goddamn game. What does that say about the Pacers?
In a side note, the Pacers were fined $50,000 for losing to that trash lineup.
And the Pacers aren't that bad this year.
They're
actually
not.
about a 500 team. But
gee,
yeah.
That kind of says a lot about that starting lineup.
Jock Vaughn, the head coach of the Nets, came out a day or two before and said he was going to rest these players. Because it was Durant, it was Irving, it was Simmons, it was all the big stars.
Yeah.
And they still won the game. That's what's a shame. They still won the game. Good for the bench players.
But you know what? It shows that the bench players are probably a more cohesive unit than the starters.
And the thing that
And
sucks
they
most of all,
had the most to play for to show what they could actually do.
The thing that sucks most of all about this is the Nets are actually starting to play like they were supposed to 2 or 3 years ago when they put this whole thing together.
Fuck the Nets.
Oh, the Heat. God forbid you leave Pat Riley out of this whole mess.
He's still down there? I thought he was dead.
Well, of course, he handed the team off to Spoelstra, his protege.
Right.
So when they were playing the Oklahoma City Thunder on December the 14th, he put all 16 players on the injury list before the game. So how are you supposed to know?
What the What the hell?
How is that? You've got. We've heard this with the NFL, where you have to be legitimately honest about who is questionable, who is doubtful, who is out. So how do you put all 16 players? I'm sorry, let me correct that. That happened on the 16th. The Heat were fined on the 14th for pulling the same crap that the Nets did, for resting all their starters. So the next game, they decided to, we'll show the league.
We'll just list everybody as questionable.
So a little bit of a tweak there in my reporting. But still.
That shows you Riley is still a scumbag at heart.
Petulant bullshit. This petulant bullshit.
Because you don't have a commissioner with any balls.
And God forbid you make players who are making $30, $40 million play 82 games a year. It's too hard. We can't do it. Babies.
Fuck off.
Babies. You're all a bunch of goddamn babies. And I still think if you don't play, you don't get paid.
There you go.
All right, finally, this personal note warms my heart, warms the cockles of my heart before we move on to moments of silence. Because I personally like this guy. You know who Jay Moore is? The comedian?
Yeah.
I always like Jay Moore.
Jay Moore's good.
Jay Moore's a funny guy. Jay Moore is going to get married to Janie Buss, the owner of the LA Lakers. Of course, we all know Phil Jackson
formerly was tapping that.
Jay Moore is now tapping that, and he's getting married.
Wow.
Now, supposedly, Jeannie Buss had a long-term relationship, as you mentioned, with Phil Jackson, but they were engaged.
Right.
Never got married. We'll see if they actually...
Will she actually walk down the aisle?
But here's the thing. I saw the pictures of them at courtside. She's a good-looking woman for her age. Not a knockout, but good-looking.
She's attractive.
And, of course, she owns the Lakers. So
right.
And Jay Moore is not really a great-looking guy. He's like us. He's good.
He's an average Joe.
He lives off his charisma and personality.
Right.
The looks are there, but they're secondary, as I like to think.
Yeah.
And he's starting to, the hairline's going back a little bit. He's getting a little, so he's got a little bit of you, a little bit of me, I'm getting heavy. You got the hairline. He's kind of a combo of both of us. And I felt like that was a victory.
For the average
like
Joe.
Us. For the Sports Frenzy audience, Jay Moore, marginally talented comedian who I respect and love, he's tapping the owner of the LA Lakers. So, Phil Jackson, you get your patchouli stink out of here.
Take your triangle,
Jay
on.
Jay Moore's coming in. He's going to pound that thing for a while. Dave and I, we're getting ready for this bomb cyclone. We're just going nuts tonight. We're cursing, very inappropriate stuff. Deal with it. Wait till you get to the weekend edition. All right, moments of silence. Our first pivot here. One moment of silence from, we talked about baseball, and we talked about how we used to love the game of baseball, and now we're kind of souring on it thanks to Steve Cohen and the Mets. But it goes before that. It's been growing and festering for years and years and years. But
the Reds, great pitcher, throwing the only perfect game in Reds history, passes away.
Tom Browning
Mr.
passes
Perfect.
away. Yeah, and a lot of you guys out there who are of age with Dave and I will know who we're talking about. Younger people will not. But Tom Browning is one of those second-tier stars.
Right.
Not Hall of Fame worthy, but he was there for a long time. He was dependable. He played the Cubs all the time, so I know him.
He anchored that last Reds World Series team in 90.
Eric Davis, part of that team. Those are the memories that Dave and I remember, and we will latch on to when baseball was good.
And competitive.
Thoughts and prayers to the family and friends of, we think, the great Tom Browning. So, of course, what do we have to do again, Dave?
Pivot.
We've got 3 dumbasses for you this week here to wrap up your bonus 4th segment of Sports Frenzy 2.0. Willie McGinest. New England Patriots, great. Well, not so great here.
No, frickin' moron.
If you've seen the video, this is just a clusterfuck on every level. Willie McGinest arrested in a Hollywood club, bar, restaurant, wherever you want to call it, for assaulting a guy, hitting him with a bottle.
This is not cool on any level.
Yeah, number one, on a comedy level, if you see the video, his pants fall almost down to his knees as he's doing this. Funny, but not funny, because number 2, he blindsides the guy. And number 3,
it's not even in self-defense.
And number 3, he has to have his posse with him to back him up and start wailing on the guy. And that's the crap I can't stand. Be a man.
One-on-one.
Call the guy out one-on-one.
One-on-one. Don't sucker punch somebody and then have all of your buddies take over for you because you're a bitch.
Worst possible look I can imagine, not only for a celebrity, a star athlete, but anybody. Fight your own goddamn battles. This isn't pro wrestling.
And do it straight up. You do not sucker punch anybody.
This is not pro wrestling. It's real life. You want to call out somebody, you call them out, take them out back in the alley, and go at it one-on-one. Fuck your boys. Because that's when the guns come out.
That's when shit gets stupid.
Because if there's one guy and you bring 6 out, that guy is probably going to be more likely to pull a firearm and say, well, it's not fair, so.
Or if he winds up kicking your ass, one of your buddies is going to shoot him.
Don't like it. Don't like the look at all. Willie McGinest, you are a dumbass. And by the way, the NFL Network holds some accountability here because they put him on the air in their triple header this past Saturday. This past Saturday, after it happened. Don't tell me they didn't know. Don't tell me they didn't know. Don't tell me nobody on the NFL Network staff or Willie McGinest didn't tell them
what's
coming down the pipe. You should not have had him on the air this past Saturday for that triple header.
Not at all.
All right, Dave. We know we love our friend Doug.
We do.
And we tolerate him talking about how he wants to turn our Pen of Frenzy competition, which involves baseball and football and basketball, real legitimate sports. And he wants to do golf and horse racing. We joke about it. Here's the next one I'm anticipating he's going to want to include in the Pen of Frenzy. The latest new sport. You guys can look it up online. There's a trailer for it. I believe it's being backed by Dana White of the UFC.
Of course it is.
Power Slap.
What the fuck is Power Slap?
The show that's coming up is called
Is this
Power
where you
Slap.
slap your opponent?
Two men walk up to a pedestal in the center of a ring, a stage, whatever, and they put the chalk on their hands.
And they slap each other until one falls down.
See, you could have.
Are you fucking kidding me?
Oh, I'm not. Look it up. Look it up.
Oh, for the love of God. That has got to be the dumbest fucking idea ever.
You have to stand there. Everybody gets a slap.
Oh, my God.
1 to 1, back and forth. You slap the other guy. He has to stand there and take it. You win when the other person falls down.
That is so damn dumb. I would rather watch arm wrestling.
Over the top. Sylvester Stallone.
Boom! Yes.
Yeah, I'm not kidding. I am not kidding.
That
kids.
is so fucking stupid.
Power Slap is the next
Oh
big
my
thing.
God. No. No. If this actually comes on TV, do not turn this shit on.
And they like
Stop it now.
And they like
Stop it now.
They like to show it in slow motion so you can see all the face muscles. Yeah.
And you watch the spit
Yeah.
fly. Oh, come on.
Yep. Power Slap coming soon on ESPN and
Dana White, you're
wherever.
a freaking dumbass. Oh.
All right, finally.
God.
This is kind of sad, but again, you make your own bed, you lie in it. We talked about Aaron Judge earlier, getting his massive contract. Corey Humans. He was the guy that caught Aaron Judge's 62nd home run ball. Now, of course, depending on how you feel about the steroid era, the 62nd home run ball by some is seen as now the legitimate.
The official legitimate mark.
He was offered $3 million for it on the spot, or very close after he caught the ball. He turned it down. Says, I'm going to put it up for auction. Corey Humans sold the ball at auction here recently for $1.5 million. Now, I like to think I'm pretty sharp when it comes to math, but that would be a 50% loss from what he could have gotten if he'd taken the $3 million right after he got the ball.
You greedy dumbass. You reap what you sow. At least there finally somebody gets some comeuppance for once.
Dave and I will be back with you this weekend.
Check out the weekend edition.
Christmas Eve.
Christmas Eve morning.
We love you.
And if you're a dumbass and won't join us, have a Merry Christmas.
We will check you out on Saturday. Take care, kids.